Hello everyone and welcome to another week with me. I'm pretty excited today because I've obviously gone hands-free and I've got all this fancy new equipment. I've got one of those circle things which I think that you can see in my eyes and a tripod. Been making YouTube videos for about almost 2 years now, which is kind of crazy, and that whole time I've been using things like plant pods, books, God knows what else to kind of hold up my phone, and natural lighting. But now I'm one of those people with one of those things, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because it shows my commitment to this channel, and I really hope that you will subscribe to me whilst you're watching this, because it's going to be a pretty fun video. And I just spent 20 quid on all this equipment, so please make it worth my while. Anyway, that's that. So today we're gonna talk about a pretty fun topic. I actually asked you guys this on Instagram. What things, so I asked a few people who had already been to North Korea. I put it out to you guys. What things really surprised you that you could do, that you found that you could do upon going to North Korea? And I got some pretty fun answers back from you guys. So obviously I already had some things in my head. A lot of people, when I take them on tour, they will often say to me like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that you could do that. Or maybe I'm telling them beforehand, preparing them to go to North Korea, and you know, there's a few shocked faces in the room. So I had a few ideas in my head, and then I asked you guys and got some pretty fun answers back from you as well. So I'm not going to give it a number right now because no idea how many there are going to be, but in this video we're going to go through some pretty fun things that are really surprising that you can do in North Korea. And I guess it's pretty obvious why I'm doing this video. A lot of videos out there are like, wow, most shocking things you can't do in North Korea. In all honesty, I'm just taking things from a bit of a different approach. Let's take a look at some shocking things that you actually can do in North Korea. Number one, super easy, super quick. We're gonna breeze past this one because you guys all know by now, if you've been watching my channel for any period of time, including the last 3 minutes that you've been watching this, that you can take photos in North Korea, you can take videos in North Korea. I have hours and hours and hours of footage, literally thousands and thousands of photos. There are 3 rules, I go over them super quickly. No photos of military, no photos of construction sites, and you have to remain respectful when you're taking photos of the leaders. That's it really, basically. There are a few more rules and stuff like that. If you're interested, check it out. But we're gonna go to the next one now, which is talking to locals. Believe it or not, you can talk to locals in North Korea. Yes, you can talk to North Korean people on the street. Yes, you can talk to the waitresses. You can talk to whichever North Korean you find who is willing to talk to you. And that's an important point, okay? So you're allowed to speak to local people. Doesn't mean that local people want to speak to you, and that is completely fine. When we go to any foreign country, we should not expect that people want to speak to us or people are willing to speak to us. It's not so common for North Koreans to see foreigners, especially if you go out of Pyongyang. If you can speak Korean, you have a much higher chance of being able to speak to locals. Not many speak English. You should not presume that everyone can speak English. Even in places like restaurants, bars, hotels, they might not speak good English. In fact, they probably won't speak good English. The only Koreans that you'll find speaking good English or speaking your language will be your North Korean tour guides. Believe it or not, you can go outside of Pyongyang. You can visit the countryside in North Korea. North Korea is a lot more open than a lot of people think. I myself have been to all 4 corners, even though it's not really a square. All 4 areas, northeast, southwest of North Korea. There's a lot of places to visit. Okay, so the next one that I found whilst kind of researching for this video was that apparently you're not allowed to wear jeans in North Korea. This is completely not true. You're allowed to wear jeans in North Korea. There is one place that you should not wear jeans in, and that is if you are visiting the Palace of the Sun, and that is where Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il lay in rest. And the reason why you're not allowed to wear jeans there is basically because you should be wearing formal attire there. It is an extremely important place in North Korea, as I'm sure you can imagine. So we just ask that everyone wear the appropriate attire when going there, and jeans are not appropriate, not because of the American influence of jeans and things like this, but actually because you should be wearing formal clothing. North Koreans, you won't find them wearing jeans, definitely not, but foreigners, yeah, you can wear jeans. One thing that everyone is always really surprised with, weirdly enough, because when you think about it, it doesn't actually make that much sense. One thing that people are delighted to hear, actually, is that of an evening, or indeed any time in the day, in the afternoon or evening most likely, you can, number one, drink alcohol in North Korea, and number two, you can go to a local bar and drink alcohol with local North Koreans, real life North Koreans, Koreans that aren't actors, just put in the bar just for you. People are always happy to hear when I suggest of an evening, if you want to hang out with the guides in the hotel bar or something like that. It's a great way to build rapport with your guides. It's a great way to just get chatting in a really chilled out environment over a couple of beers or something like that if you like to drink beer. And a lot of the time on tour we go to a local bar as well to sample some more North Korean beer or just kind of hang out in a local area. KFC, McDonald's. Okay, so you can't actually have KFC or McDonald's in North Korea, that's true. But there is a KFC, Korean fried chicken place, and there's also a fast food burger joint, which definitely is a McDonald's, but fast food burger joint, pretty much the same thing. So you can eat fast food in North Korea. You can have Korean fried chicken, and you can have various other fried food. Usually, to be honest, we don't take people to these places on tour just because you can have them anywhere, but you can always request these places. Or also, if you're in North Korea for a couple of weeks or on a particularly long tour, then we do tend to stop off at these places just for some kind of home comforts instead of having typical traditional Korean food. Karaoke. Who else loves karaoke? And I'm not talking karaoke, European style karaoke, where you go into a bar and you sing in front of, a couple of hundred strangers who are very drunk and you are just as drunk as them. I'm not talking about that kind of karaoke, the karaoke that you really regret the next day. Asian style karaoke, so Chinese, Japanese, Korean karaoke, is basically in a private booth, private room area, and it's very, very popular in China, Korea and Japan, and North Korea is no exception to that. So there is karaoke in North Korea. It does have Western songs, and yes, you are able to sing and enjoy that. Okay, the next one. You can go on the internet in North Korea, you can post on social media. Shock horror. So I've got a whole video, I'll again put it up here. I've got a whole video on going on the internet in North Korea, or is the internet in North Korea. Very quickly, there is intranet in North Korea, that's for the locals, so that is an internal internet. So locals and local North Koreans cannot access foreign internet. However, foreigners can buy a local SIM card. It's extremely expensive. So really, I would recommend that you don't. But if you want to, you can buy the SIM card, you can buy data for it, and you can go online onto social media and you can post about your trip whilst you are in North Korea. Next thing that you definitely can do in North Korea is, I'm going to go through some sports. So you can play football, you can do golf, you can do volleyball, you can go bowling, okay? These are some really fun things that you can do either as a specialized trip. So if you want to go to the golf course, maybe it's an idea that you do a kind of specialized tour by yourself, or like a day by yourself as an add-on tour, because usually it's not included into tour itineraries. Bowling, very popular with the locals, especially of an evening of a weekend, just like it is anywhere in the world. Volleyball, Koreans love volleyball. Usually at work or in companies, there's volleyball teams, so like girls v guys, or for example with the tour company that we work with, they have volleyball teams with the Chinese speaking guides and the English speaking guides, stuff like that. They get really competitive. They have like an end of year match, stuff like that. If you get the chance to play volleyball with Koreans, it's always good fun. They are really good, so expect to lose. Keeping on to the theme of sports, let's go to dancing. So yes, you can dance with locals. I have a really embarrassing YouTube video of me, again, it'll be up here, of me dancing with locals, one of my favorite times in North Korea. It was May Day, public holiday, which is my favorite time anyway. It's not too hot, not too cold. Locals are all relaxed. It's an amazing holiday to spend there. And also, this was just a really fun interaction that I had with some Koreans who were singing karaoke in the park, and I heard them singing my favorite songs. So after everyone had sat down for a barbecue in the park, I obviously ran up to them and just kind of started singing with them, and they really liked that. They really appreciated it. I'm glad, because it was a bit intrusive of me, but I tend to do these things all over the world, and thankfully they were very welcoming and allowed me to sing and dance with them. So that was fun, and hey, it's not just me, you can do that too. From dancing to swimming, another thing that you can do in North Korea, swimming on the beach. You can also swim in the swimming pools if you want to, but more people are kind of astounded that yes, North Korea has beaches that you can go to. Crazy, since it is it's got a lot of coast around it, so of course there's going to be some beaches, and indeed you can visit them. You can visit them on the East Coast and on the West Coast. I'm not very good with directions, believe it or not, being a tour guide. In the summer, they can be really, really fun places to visit. Obviously in the winter, they're a little bit dull, it's a little bit cold. You're probably not going to want to swim, but you can if you really want to. And so finally, 3 more things, and they're all pretty fun ones. People are really surprised that you can talk to the guides pretty freely about pretty much anything. There are some topics that I would recommend not to talk to the guides about, or at least, wait a few days until you kind of build up a trust relationship before you start these conversations. So that was it. A lot of things, I don't know how many things we covered. Things that you can do in North Korea that make...